people in that 82nd Division, we talked to one lieutenant who said his platoon was the first one to cross the border into Iraq, and he said his platoon had also been one of the first into Panama a couple of years ago, so that unit has seen some action. The action that we saw here in the terminal when everybody came in was a beeline for the telephones. Everybody wanted to get in touch with their loved ones at home because a lot of them hadn't been able to make those kind of contacts and have those conversations for weeks, possibly even months. They had been that far forward in the desert for all that time. But for at least one man, he didn't even have to reach a telephone to call home. Tom Halleck has that story.
It was a surprise and tearful reunion for Mark Fliegelman and his family.
Well, we heard on the news that the 82nd was coming in. And then when I got in the car, I've been up to 3 o'clock this morning. I heard they came in at 5 o'clock. Oh, I can't stop shaking. And I really started shaking, you know, once I got in the car. I was hoping he was going to be here.
How's he look?
Terrific. Just in case, if they were here. He tackled me from the behind.
How's it feel to see him?
Great.
I spotted him first. I saw him come up the stairs. I was walking back this way, snuck up on him.
What'd they say?
They didn't say anything. I think it was pretty emotional.
How's it feel to be back?
Great. A long, strange trip it's been.
For many other soldiers, a phone call will have to do until they can reach their families.
Hey, baby. How you doing? Well, we'll be home in a few hours, I guess. We're in Bangor, Maine.
Oh, well, good.
Well, we thank you.
Have a safe trip the rest of the way.
Many people who know none of these soldiers were here at 5 this morning to greet the first flight.
Oh, I have my flag. Yes, sure.
Why did you come out here to greet everyone?
To support the troops and let them know that we're here in Bangor, Maine, and we're so glad they're back. Yes.
So you didn't have a loved one on the plane. You just came out to greet any soldier that got on.
Anybody that came off, and we've been shaking hands, and the girls came with me, and I understand there's going to be 4 more flights this afternoon, and we're going to be here for everyone.
And for the soldiers, that meant a lot.
It's great. And then when this young guy right here came up and says, I want a hug, total stranger.
How's that make you feel?
Yes, makes me feel good. Proud to be an American. That's what it's for, so he can live free. Yeah.
At Bangor International, Tom Halleck, News 7.
Reception here. And the welcome has continued all morning. We had about 400 people from the Navy, active duty Navy, and some reservists who've been serving on board the hospital ship Mercy. They were here a little while ago and have left. The 82nd has left. Now we have the 1st Infantry Division, members of the Big Red One, and this tough-looking guy next to me is Major Pete O'Hara, who's the commanding officer of this particular group. First of all, welcome home.
It's great to be home.
How did it feel for you when the rest of your troops coming in and seeing the crowd here to welcome you?
Well, it felt great. It was very moving. We didn't expect it. Just super. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. How are your people doing?
They're doing great. They're very excited about getting home, and they're just everybody's doing great.
There's been a lot of talk here about how fast the war concluded once the ground war began. Were you and the other people in your unit surprised at that?
We were surprised at the pace. We didn't think it would be as quick as what it was, but we had no doubt that it was going to be quicker than some of the experts had predicted.
Yeah. And your unit saw quite a bit of action.
We saw a tremendous amount of action. From the day before G-Day, we busted the breach into Iraq. We then passed the British 1st Armored Division, and then we took off and was the first unit, as far as the flanking movements you've heard about, to attack into Kuwait. We drove deep into Kuwait and secured the Kuwait-Iraq border.
Things turned out pretty well?
Great. Just great for us.
All right. Well, thanks very much, and welcome home, and enjoy the rest of the trip.
It's great to be here.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Major Pete O'Hara of the 1st Infantry Division. We're going to be talking more about events here this morning a little bit later on in the show. Right now, Pat, let's go back to you.
All right, thank you, Don. And we will have more on News Center at noon right after this.
A very gratifying experience for them. It is going to go on. There's another flight in this afternoon, one late tonight. We expect more over the coming days. We will be very surprised, though, if any moment in these homecomings matches the emotion of what happened early this morning when an Army Sergeant Doc Tillman joined the John Baptist High School Band to play the National Anthem.
Pentagon is not including the berets among those listed as missing in action. A Pentagon spokeswoman said she knew nothing of the story and would comment no further. 21 American prisoners of war released by the Iraqis enjoyed a hero's welcome at Andrews Air Force Base today in Washington. The top brass joined the POWs' families in thanking these men and women for risking their lives to free Kuwait. Now, some of the POWs are hurt and were unable to run down the plane runway. Some are on crutches. At least 7 suffered shrapnel wounds or broken bones. A large crowd cheered their return. Now, the injured will be hospitalized for a few days before they head for their hometowns. A similar scene today at the Bangor International Airport as another plane full of troops unloaded to find the place packed with a cheering, flag-waving, welcoming committee. Now, this group of servicemen and women were on their way to Charleston, South Carolina. They were expecting their short stay in Bangor to be just a routine stopover.
We never did expect a welcome here. We thought we were going to fly straight into Charleston Air Force Base. But we're glad you guys were here. It means a lot to us. Thanks a lot.
Some folks made sure they went home with something to remember the day by, asking for memorabilia. Now, an even bigger ruckus up in Limestone at the air base as hundreds of airmen landed there today. The folks were ready, as was News Center's Tom Halleck.
It was the reunion these airmen had been waiting 7 months for.
Wonderful. It's about time.
It's just an overwhelming feeling. I mean, I've been looking for this day for so long, and it's finally here. How's he look? Great.
Wonderful.
So does she.
For some, there were new members of the family to greet.
I had a couple pictures of my son, but I didn't know actually what he looked like. The pictures were a little blurry, but he looks good to me. I'm real glad to be here, though.
How does it feel to have Dad home?
Great. Great. Thank you. That's it. Great.
Hayden Lewis was born just 3 weeks after his dad left for the Gulf in August.
You like that, huh? It was a long, long time. I'd just like to thank everybody for supporting us so well. It's great to have your support, and all those letters, it's excellent. Can't say any more.
Not everyone was here to greet a loved one. Mary Suter has a niece and nephew still in the Gulf. She drove to Loring to welcome these airmen home.
I support them all the way. God bless them. I love them all. I have family in the service, nieces and nephews, but none of my own.
So you wanted to be here to greet them?
Yes.
What kind of a feeling is it to see them coming back?
Emotional. Just as if it were my own.
After 3 C-141 transports brought home about 300 mechanics and bomb specialists, 5 of Loring's B-52 bombers arrived home.
God, it's great. It just brings tears to my eyes. I can't believe it's finally happening.
It's been a long few months.
A long 7 months.
The 42nd Bombardment Wing has been at a Navy base on the tiny island of Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean, nearly 2,000 miles from Iraq. Yet the 42nd Wing and 69th Bomber Squadron were among the 3 that went almost non-stop for a month, bombing targets in Iraq.
Just that it was crazy after the 15th of January. It was hectic. I mean, we were working like 15, 16 hours a day. So it was just ongoing. It's an ongoing thing, but I'm glad it's over now.
It's hairy because they do precision bombing, and then when they come back, well, we got to be very precise and try and get them ready for the next mission.
I was glad it was over quickly, but I don't want to see anybody die.
And there will be more family reunions. The last 4 planes and 250 more airmen are due into Loring in the next day. At Loring Air Force Base in Limestone, Tom Halleck, News Center.
So as you can see, these folks are happy, and here's some more proof. Take a look at this. Now, these GIs weren't egged on. They heard the up-tempo sounds of a current pop hit called Ice Baby by the group Vanilla Ice, and their feet went to town. For some reason, the Army boots seem well suited for a little happy dancing. It was not dancing that brought many tens of thousands of Russians into the streets of Moscow to
ship out last August, and greeters could not get enough, gathering on the street outside the base to wave anew at the now bus-mounted Marines on the final leg of the long journeys to their home bases, including Camp Pendleton. And here, waiting spouses had their months of patience rewarded.
I didn't think I'd ever hold him in my arms again.
I was very scared. I was frightened. I lived in fear for 24 hours a day.
For Corporal Kenneth Lucero, his first chance to see and hold his 1-month-old child.
It's just hard to explain. Can't put it in words.
Scenes to be repeated with different faces for months to come as the heroes of Operation Desert Storm come home.
You glad Daddy's home?
And for Healy for NBC News, San Bernardino, California.